Today, we want to talk about some fundamentals of energy medicine. We want to talk about energy, we want to talk about frequency and vibration and what that means, and how we can actually tap in and utilize that in our energy medicine modality for holistic health. Um, so, first off, I like to bring up a quote from Nikola Tesla, who says, if you want to discover the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, of frequency, and of vibration. And so we come to discover that human beings have an energy field. Quite often, it's called the human biofield. Um, and every human being has a vibration and a frequency that we are constantly emitting, whether consciously or subconsciously. Um, and so when we want to start thinking of things that are here in the physical world that have atoms and particles, we also want to understand that these things exist energetically in the spiritual realm or in the field, according to quantum physics, similar to how the Native Americans, honored the spirits of all things, whether it was a rock or a tree, etc. They understood and lived their lives under the understanding that every physical thing existed in the quantum space as well. So, Earth has its own base frequency. It's called the Schumann resonance that we track, and there's a lot of data that's collected daily, and we've been collecting for years on that. So, not only do we as individuals have a biofield, so does the Earth itself, which is pretty cool. Um, so today we want to talk about, what is vibration? Like, what does that even mean? So as we know, atoms and a universal law is that everything is in motion. And so basically what vibrations are is the oscillating movement and the vibration from the atom, and everything is energy from that point. The way we measure vibration is frequency. So frequency is basically measured in hertz, and it's measuring how fast the vibration or the oscillation is actually occurring. um, and so you know we're going to talk about how every component of our being has a vibration, right? So the emotions that we feel put out vibrations, the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, the food that we put into our body, the actions that we take, all of these things in sum create our human biofield. Um, and you can think of it this way: the lower the frequency, the more denser or heavier the energy actually is, right? So there is an emotional frequency scale, and basically it'll break down, the range of frequency of emotions. So the more denser, low vibing emotions naturally would be shame, would be guilt, apathy, grief, and fear. And you would get into more high vibrational emotions such as enlightenment, peace, joy, love, reason, acceptance. These are higher on the vibrational scale. So basically, what I am feeling in my body is not only producing biochemicals that my body is then becoming addicted to, it's also emitting out a frequency as well. So how do we start to clean up our human biofield, right? And in the realm of energy medicine, we believe and understand that disturbances in our energy field is actually what produces disease. So it will manifest physically. However, the problem actually starts in our energy field and then works its way through into reality. So we can start with simple things, very practical tools. One thing is, we can be mindful of that inner dialogue and what we're thinking of ourselves, right? So if we're constantly feeling guilt or shame about something or afraid of something, and we're not really taking action. We're just kind of sitting in that emotion. Well, how do we shift it, right? Like, we can use very practical tools to start to visualize a future version of ourselves, and we can emote with as much potency as we can, begin to feel the higher vibrational feelings, right? So we can feel peace, joy, love, health, and we can begin to feel and experience those things without any external changes on the outside. So for instance, I don't have to wait for a large sum of money to hit my bank account to begin to feel abundant, right? I don't have to wait for my health to feel healthy. Um, so the more we can become self aware of what we are thinking about ourselves and the world around us, the emotions and thoughts in our subconscious mind, and bring those to our conscious awareness, the more we can shift those things. And we can take really small baby steps. We can start listening to more higher vibrational music, reading more higher vibrational content. We can do things that bring us joy and ignite our passions. We can begin to create a new vision of ourselves, and attract those things from the inside, and watch our external world begin to shift and gravitate. So, you know, some really easy exercises that I typically do, that are part of my morning and evening routine, is I imagine a version of myself holding the higher essences of those high vibrational emotions of peace, of joy, of just living and freedom and following my heart. And what I do is, just like virtual reality, I hold that vision of myself in my imagination, and I breathe into my heart, and from my heart, I emote those feelings, to the best that I can, and hold it as long as I can. And then I start my day. And I start my day typically under the context of, how can I grow? What can I give? And what can I celebrate? And when you begin to be grateful and celebrate the things in your life, what ends up happening is, gratitude is the vibrational signature of reception, of like, I received and I'm thankful. And so it starts to build that energy, and you begin to receive more. Wherever you're going to put your attention, that's where that energy is going to flow. So instead of sitting and self-loathing and bitching and feeling like a victim, you can empower yourself to start to hold a new vision for yourself. You can begin to emote new feelings, and you can begin to create a new version of yourself. um, and then at night, as I'm going to bed, I kind of review my day, and I look for areas where I can grow. And again, I give gratitude. We are just so blessed in this day and time and age of all the things that we have available to us, that we just tend to forget how lucky we are. Um, so we can start to take care of our energy field. And it's really important to start paying attention to how you're talking to yourself. What am I saying to myself throughout my day? Am I being critical? I'm super mindful of not framing everything under some linear polarized concept, right? So we tend to think that way, like life is linear and everything is black or white, good or bad, either or. And we know that that's just not true. I mean, here I am sitting out in nature, right? We're sitting out in nature, and nature just shows very openly the cycles of life and all the variations in between, that things are not linear, either or in black and white, that there are all these processes and cycles constantly going on around us, and they're interwoven, and they're deeply connected. So that is a way to really shift your thought patterns quickly, is to move it out of the frame of right or wrong, good or bad, me against you, linear. Everything's time. No, shift it into, you know what? It's not about time. It's about alignment. And what alignment is the more I can vibrate out the things that I want to receive, the quicker I receive them. You know, the more I can accept. Acceptance is huge. The more I can accept where I'm at here and now in all of its entirety and be aware of that, then I have an easier chance to create a more effortless version of myself and that in which I truly desire. So, you know, you will start to find as you're like, oh, I want to increase my vibration. I want to get to know myself. What does my energy need? Um, you know, you can start to discover that. And, you know, a simple technique is, you know, you can rub your hands together, move them apart, and then slowly start moving them together. And you can start to feel that energy. You can feel that energy, you know, you can feel your own energy. You can feel the resistance. And, you know, oftentimes when we think of ourselves as humans that actually have an energetic field, you know, we tend to start thinking of chakras, right? Like typically the next thing we start thinking of, and what those are actually energy vortexes that are centered at different parts of our being that move up. And so, you know, you can start to play around with putting your hands on your chakras and allowing that energy to just be, and allowing the information from that energy to start flowing. And we began to notice along this journey that, you know, information um, from the quantum field or from the spiritual realm, whatever you choose to call it, that information does start to come. And sometimes, you know, it's just a knowing, sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes we actually can see, um, you know, images in our mind's eye. You know, I know people that actually like see color. You know, you begin to understand that there's a very personal language that you have as an individual in the quantum realm or in the spiritual space. And there's so much beauty in that. You know, there's a language that exists in motion, and there's this information exchange that is constantly happening, right? I'm constantly putting information out into the universe based on my current vibrational state. I'm also constantly receiving information from the universe, you know, and it works hand in hand. So that's just something to think about is, you know, what can we begin to drink, to eat, to think, to speak, to feel? How can we move through the world um, in ways that are more high vibrational, you know? And like I said, I think a real easy way into that is to relinquish thought patterns that are linear and polarized. Let those go and try to expand the mind beyond those limitations and understand in the quantum world and realm that there is limitless potential, so far beyond our imagination, you know, that is in our reach. And you know, that is just so incredibly powerful, you know. And through experimenting, you know, through just taking these small little tasks of holding a new vision version of yourself and emoting those feelings, and doing that in the morning as I'm waking, and doing it again at night as I'm going to bed, and holding gratitude and stepping out of victimization and really being accountable and responsible for my energetic body. You know, I'm mindful of what I eat, I'm mindful of what I drink, I'm mindful of what I'm saying, I'm mindful of the company that I keep. I pay attention to what I'm watching on TV. I pay attention to the content that I read, you know. And when I seem out of balance, what I do is I go within, you know, to discover, you know, what what do I need here? Does my emotional body need something? Is there some mental understanding that I need? Is there a shift in perspective that I can gravitate toward right now? You know, can I, give myself a sound bath right now? I love using tuning forks. Do I need to give myself a, self healing Reiki session? There are just so many things that we can do. And oftentimes, when I find myself to be in heightened emotions, specifically fear or anxiety, breathing, consciously breathing into my heart and getting back into my body will reset me back to a stronger vibrational state and allow those emotions to just move through me. So, yep, that's what I have today on, energy, vibration, frequency, and kind of different components of what creates our human biofield, and just small ways in our thinking, in our acting, and even our meditation that we can begin to relinquish that old self and let those things die out and create, a more free version of ourselves based off of who we truly are.